Hi, this is Tom Schuman, and welcome to Music Conversations on Jazz. Back in the year 2007, my friend Wade Erickson and I produced 10 of these, and I thought it would be nice to re-release them. So sit back and listen to our Conversations on Jazz.
Welcome to Music Conversations on Jazz with your host Tom Schuman of Spyro Gyra. Tom's guest for this week is jazz guitarist Steve Oliver. This music conversation took place backstage before a concert that Steve Oliver appeared with Spyro Gyra. Tom and Steve's music collaboration began with Steve's 2004 release 3D, with Tom Schuman acting as the co-producer with Steve, as well as providing keyboard on various tracks. With the incredible success of songs such as Chips and Salsa and Magic World, Tom returned to support Steve with his 2006 release Radiant. And as you'll hear in this music conversation, Tom and Steve are at it again in production on Steve's next release for Koch Records.
Hey folks, this is Tom Schuman. I'm backstage with Steve Oliver, and we're getting ready to play a gig together. What an amazing thing.
This hasn't happened in how long?
It's in Sacramento, I think.
Yeah.
Was it Sacramento?
Yeah, and it was here. I think it was in Fresno.
I think
it was here.
But it was an outdoor.
It was an outdoor event, the Bastille. I think it was called the Bastille.
Wow.
Something like that. It's hard to believe where the times go.
It was a long time ago, right?
I know.
But I had some questions right away that I was thinking about asking you. And I remember you telling me a long time ago. We've known each other, by the way, folks, about, 4 years now? 5 years?
Yeah, 4 years. And Tom, we worked
done
together.
some productions together. And,
Tom did an amazing job on 3D and Radiant, the last couple of albums of mine. And
I'm just so happy to be a part of anything you do, man, because you fill the room with such a great spirit, and you remind me as to why I do this.
Really?
You do. You remind me why I'm, gifted, and why and what I should do with my gift, and how I should treat my gift, and all that stuff. Because you're always so, you pick the words, Mr. Positive Energy, and radiant, you've got 4 solo records now.
Yeah.
You got First Light.
Yeah, First View.
First View, Positive Energy, 3D, Radiant.
Radiant, yeah.
And you've been doing this for now, 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And your family, you're the only one in your family who's got musical abilities.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I know, no one in my family plays a thing,
So that kind of makes me think, well, gee, you were on your own from the beginning.
Completely, yeah.
I mean, you really didn't get any kind of support from your brother or your father or anything like that.
Yeah. It was funny. I think my parents thought I was going to, it was a phase. They always thought, this music thing will just end, when I was in 5th grade.
Did you get the feeling they were hoping it would end?
Sometimes I wondered.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
When that's all I can remember ever wanting to do was music, for the sheer beauty and love of music, because what it does to me as a listener.
So where did you how did you find what to listen to back then? I mean, where did you go to get cool stuff to listen to?
Well, that's a great question, because it's I was one of these record junkies. That was my hobby. I went out, actually. Yeah. I had paper routes growing up, and so I'd spend all my paper route money on records, vinyl, back then, in the 70s, 80s, 70s and 80s when I was growing up. And that was my hobby. Every day after school, I'd go to the record store and get the new releases. And then friends started turning me on. It almost became like a club, like a club thing at this. It was called Rasputin Records. I'll never forget it. And, it's a record store I just fell in love with. I went through every section, like the jazz section and the rock section, the pop, the world music.
And this is in Pleasanton, California?
This was actually, I grew up in, town. I was born in Walnut Creek, California, and then lived in Pleasant Hill, Concord. It's kind of the East Bay. It's about 45 minutes out of San Francisco, more east of San Francisco.
Great place for art and music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the surroundings just was really a beautiful place to grow up. So it was really great. And so just musically, it was I was like a music explorer. I wanted to learn and absorb just from listening to music. And
when you said the latest releases, I mean, anything? I mean, just anything that came out, you just went and got?
Yeah, I would ask the guy at the counter, because he was a real music aficionado. The guy that worked at this particular place called Rasputin Records, and I never forget his name. His name was Rich, and I would always go to him as my go-to guy. Hey, what should I check out? What would you recommend? To listen to? Check out the new blah blah blah. So I'd go, okay, kind of tentatively, but I was open for it, because I was open for anything musically.
So, Rich, if you're out there listening, man,
yeah,
you're getting your props today.
Yeah, Rich at Rasputin Records back in the early '80s.
Yeah, right. It's probably still there. Knowing that area, they're still selling LPs.
You know what? It come to think of it, it is now that I'm. Every time I go back to the Bay Area, I think it is still there.
Because we always go in Berkeley. We go to Berkeley.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many great places. We can buy old books and old records and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's that great place in Berkeley called Amoeba. It's like huge.
Yeah. Wow. So you just self-taught. You're self-taught when it comes to your influences and the music that you listen to, and you're also self-taught on your instrument, or did you actually have a teacher?
I didn't have a teacher. I was completely self-taught with everything, but I taught myself how to write music, read music. I just kind of taught myself, and then I went. During high school, I was in jazz band, and they didn't have guitar curriculum, so I had to kind of make up my own parts, which was kind of cool.
Wow!
So I'd be playing in the jazz band in high school, and it was at the beginning of the day because it wasn't recommended to curriculum, to do. That's when music started really going out of the schools, which is
you're already talking about high school and the jazz band in high school. I mean, what led you to? I mean, did you buy some, method books or anything like that, or did you just strictly pick up the instrument and start playing?
Yeah,
finding the notes yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did that. Plus, then I got books, chord charts, books, and how to inversions, and then from there it just started developing.
Do you remember what books?
I don't.
You don't?
Yeah,
okay.
I really don't. It was probably Mel Bay.
Yeah.
Always Mel Bay books were always good guitar books.
Really?
So,
really?
Yeah, Mel Bay.
Well, I have no idea because I never picked the instrument up and checked it out. But I'm just fascinated by self-taught musicians because, even I got some support from my family, and there were a lot of great people.
I know. You were, in your family, growing up around it.
But you were completely, you came from the womb and said, all right, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out there and find out how. Yeah. And then I'm going to be successful at it.
Yeah, it was just out of pure love of what it brought, and what music brings to me.
Yeah.
And, I just want to give it back. It's kind of, it's come full circle in that way,
Well, that's to me the perfect musician, is when you realize that it's not a selfish motive.
Right.
You're not going in to just learn and do the things you want to do to kind of achieve your own goals. You want to give it back.
Absolutely.
And you want to share what it is that you've learned with the rest of the world.
Right.
And that's, I think, one of the magic influences that you have on the rest of the world. Is you kind of teach us all how to have fun with music.
Yeah.
And you've even done that with me. I've helped you produce 3D.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole record. And which brings me to the next question, because everybody who's listening is going to think, well, the producer of a record has got a lot of things that he has to do and put together. You came in basically with the whole concept completely done in your head.
Yeah.
And it was, believe me, it's the easiest job in the world was to be your producer.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Because you came in and you said, okay, and you had a lot of the tracks done, which you recorded on your Roland.
I have a 2480 Roland recording studio, which I try to keep, just for writing, because I think, giving the ideas across. And so, like when I would, write a song, and then I'd give it to you, and okay, let's take it to the next level, And
we ended up keeping a lot of those tracks, and I just kind of transferred them to Pro Tools, which is my method of recording.
Yeah,
and you basically said, okay, here's what I want you to do, and play piano here, and then we need a little more of a better kind of groove over here. What do you got?
Right.
And it was just like a candy store for me. Because my whole goal whenever we would produce something is to make you happy.
Right.
So whenever you would say, oh man, that's awesome, that's just what I was looking for.
Oh, well, you're so good, Tom.
And I'm going to share some of my methods. I have the CD-ROMs and the Giga Studio, and I had Metamorphosis and Liquid Grooves.
And great tools for the trade.
And we'd go through all the little tracks, and you'd say, yep, that's it. That's the groove I'm looking for. And then we put that together. And sometimes, and I've produced some other people, they don't know what they want. They want you to make it happen for them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Please, anytime, call me.
Oh, well, we're working. In fact, hopefully that was the next thing.
Well, we got one thing in the can that we're going to work on.
Yeah.
But let me go on with the production of your former records. Like
First View.
First View is your very first record. And did you work with Steve Reed on that one?
Yes,
Steve Reed was your producer on that one.
Yeah, funny, Rob Mullins, keyboard player Rob Mullins, he did one song, produced one song, but Steve Reed I recorded it at his studio, and that was right before the digital age really hit. It was still analog.
And he had like a 24-track Atari or something like that?
He had 48-track analog. He had two big, huge analog tape machines.
Cool.
And he had what is it?
It's a Neve?
A Neve board.
A Neve board,
that he got from A&M Studios. It was like the We Are the World was recorded on this Neve console. So it was actual from all the the Carpenters and all the A&M artists of the day recorded on this board that Steve purchased for his studio.
And he still has it.
And he still has it.
Wonderful,
and it's pretty cool to be able to, because it really had a warmth to it. On the first two albums, just something about that. That whole process.
Well, I went out and got the Possibilities, Herbie Hancock Possibilities DVD.
Oh yes.
And that record was done with tape.
It was.
Yeah.
And you could hear.
The piano sounds much better on tape than it does.
And I think kick drums sound real good.
I know, man.
And bass, kick and bass. It's all.
It's about. Like when do you give up one thing for another? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I know it's like.
But I mean, do you notice a difference between First View and say 3D in sound?
I think it's more cleaner now, and I like that cleanness of it. Working in the digital domain.
So you're not really missing anything.
I'm not. No, I think it's easier to edit. It's like you can't.
Well, what
cutting
you do.
Tape all the time was always a nightmare.
What I'm noticing is some cats are recording to tape, and then they take the outputs of that machine, and then they go into Pro Tools with it, and then they edit it.
Yes.
And then they edit it, and then they do their mixing from Pro Tools.
Right.
But they get the initial warmth and the initial audio, digital conversion from the tape.
Yep.
So that's an interesting thing. So folks, don't get rid of your tape machines.
Yes, don't. I think they're going to come back too.
I know. I think so. Everybody's going to want that warmth. My God.
Oh, completely. Exactly.
So Radiant did recently got an award.
Oh yeah, it was picked by Jazz Is magazine, one of the top albums of the year.
Wonderful, congratulations.
End of the year 2006, end of the year kind of thing, which was really a nice little surprise.
And then you did the Smooth Jazz Awards in Canada.
Yeah, Canada. I was up for Best International Artist because I'm not Canadian. So
right. And what is your website? It's SteveOliverMusic.com, right?
Yeah, Steve Oliver Music.
Folks, you gotta go to SteveOliverMusic.com and check out his website. It's really, really hip. And it starts you out right away with the video from the Canadian Smooth Jazz Awards.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
The live performance.
Yeah, and I did it solo. I did a performance.
Right.
Just going out there with my guitar and a vocal, and I sang a tune off Radiant. And
which brings me to another concept, is that ability to go out in front of an audience by yourself. And to, with all the pressures that's involved in performing, when you have a bunch of people around you, it's like at least you can share that pressure.
Right.
But and me as an artist, I'm like almost incapable of doing that right now. I'm like so self-conscious, But no, I'm serious. I just want to know where do you get your, I guess we're going to get religious about this, but where do you get that confidence? It's just an amazing undertaking when you go out in front of an audience.
It's out of sheer love, and you want to share it. It's really, for me, it's that simple. It's
wow.
Yeah, just sheer love of music, and you see what it can do to people. When it's represented in a different, in a nice way, and that's what I love about our genre that we're in. The contemporary jazz genre is, people love quality music, and so you want to give quality, performances and quality music, and that's my vision.
Well, you carry it off like you've been doing it since you were a child.
Yeah.
Because you just go up there and it's so natural, And I've watched you perform so many times, and I sit back there and go, man, If only I had half of that, you know, inside of me. Because I've always been from a band, you know.
Sure.
So it's easy to kind of hand off, you know, the pressures and the little, you know, peaks and valleys in your set, you know.
And likewise, watching you perform, I mean, you know, over the years, I'm the same. I'm like, how is he doing what he's doing? Tom is like doing 18 parts, you know, at once, and you're like, it's like ballet.
Yeah, well, I know it's like I'm more impressed with what you do. And what is like the longest show that you've done completely solo?
It's funny. I do a kind of when I'm not touring, I play this one venue and I solo. Yeah. And sometimes I'll play 3 hours straight just by
3
myself.
hours?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I just get up there and it's like, you know, and it's like being in the zone, you know, it's like you just get in that zone and you're just gone. I call it an out-of-body experience every time I play music.
Wow.
And I really feel that way. I feel music brings you closer to God. It brings you closer to
the afterlife.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, I get transfixed. I don't even know where I'm at. And then as soon as we're done playing, it's like, oh, we're back to reality.
Right.
You know, it's
right. So it's a wonderful escape.
It's like you. I mean, when you play, I mean, is that how you feel too when you're playing?
Yeah, I am still kind of aware of what I'm doing while I'm doing it because I have so much to think about.
Sure.
With keyboards and with, you know, changing sounds as I go along with the set and everything. But I think what I'm going to try to accomplish eventually is to do what you do and go out there and do a solo piano concert or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But getting back
You're amazing. You should be.
Getting back to you again, which I'm trying to keep this. I'm trying to keep this all about you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's a love fest. I'm really happy just to see Tom right now. This
is great because you know.
Likewise.
And we've shared a lot of great times creating music together.
Yeah.
But you are so prolific. I mean, you write on a constant. To me, I think you get up in the morning and say, "I got to write a tune today." I mean, is that true? I mean, do you wake up and you get inspirations for new songs every day?
Yeah, it's continuing. It's funny. Right before we left in California, we're in California right now.
Yeah.
So right before we left to drive to Fresno for this show that we're at, we're backstage actually right now.
Yeah.
And I heard a tune, and I told my wife who was driving with me. I said, I'm hearing this song. I'm hearing an idea. Can we wait just 5 minutes before we have to leave, you know, for a 4-hour drive? So I did. I just turned on my recording real quick and acoustic guitar and vocal mic and just strummed in the melody and idea. And
so it's there when you get home.
So I won't forget it. So a lot of times, it is. Songs just come.
Do you have anything that you carry with you that might be like a little thing like this?
I know
that we're recording on right now.
I should. I know it's a great tool.
Yeah.
And you know how it is a lot of times when you're on the road. I mean, you're trying to bring the least amount of stuff. You know.
Well, these days the airlines make it real difficult.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's funny. You said a quote that I've never forgotten about. About what we do. You know, playing music, and we're like peace warriors. You know, that's how I. That's how I view what we do. We're out there just giving peace.
The world, especially when you're traveling all over the world and you're representing the United States of America.
Right.
You know, I like to think that we are the ones who are really trying to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And really trying to spread love.
Exactly.
To all the countries of the world.
Absolutely.
And which brings me to another question. I mean, you are working on some international, besides Canada, right? Are you guys working on trying to go somewhere else?
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get over to Europe and more in Japan and Australia.
The Japanese will just love you to death, man. Oh, I got to tell you. I mean, I'm not going to single them out. Obviously, everybody is going to really enjoy what you do, but they will you'll become a big star.
Wow.
I can guarantee it.
Oh man, we're definitely gearing towards that because we're going to be doing a DVD and this year we're going to film that and try to get
The new Blue Note in Tokyo is really nice.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I think you could definitely do something there.
I love that. Just going to Japan would just be incredible. I did play Taiwan.
You did?
Yeah, and back in high school, actually, when I was doing a tour with a singing and dancing troupe. Mm-hmm. And so we flew over there as a kind of like American exchange, kind of bringing American music to the Taiwanese
so you were just a kid,
government. Yeah, I was like 16, 17, playing in the singing and dancing troupe.
And did you do the singing and playing with yourself, singing with your lines back then?
Well, no, I was actually more hired as a guitar player and like a background singer. and they had these girls out there dancing, and
Right.
it was like entertaining the Taiwanese government. So we went over there as like a government kind of exchange.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Wow.
It was a great experience. It was like my first kind of,
You had to get a
overseas
passport
trip.
and everything. You still have what's a passport,
Still,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because we go to Canada all the time.
Right.
So.
And you need one now, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I didn't even realize
Yeah,
that. Because
Canada.
I'm from Buffalo, and I used to go over the Peace Bridge all the time, and no problem.
I know. Now it's like,
Jeez.
where's the passport, please? You can't pass go. Yeah.
Exactly. And when did you, at what point in your evolution, as I would say, in learning your music, did you decide to come up with this signature sound where you use your voice in tandem with your guitar?
It's funny. I think as musicians, we're always singing parts to other musicians.
Right.
And so I always did that, like, oh, the bass part goes, dum, boom, 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 oh, okay. And then, I think we always do that. I mean, wouldn't you say that you did?
Yeah, I do it, but I don't consider it part of the finished product.
Oh, got it, right.
It's like just to get the point across.
Right.
It's like, here's how it goes, and but when did you realize that you are actually a vocalist?
Gosh, I've always sang, and I remember before I actually learned to play the guitar that I would always hear parts. For some reason, I heard bass parts. I heard, before, when I was like 5 and 6 years old, I'd be on the swinging, and I would hear songs, and I'd hear grooves because everything was in motion. It was like, you're on the swing, you're swinging back and forth, and all of a sudden, so I'd start doing this, like a song in my head. And I'd just be happy, just no.
You got the bass line there, you got the rhythm there, and
then it just starts. Oh, okay, now the song's coming.
Well, the first guy that comes to mind who did that was Bobby McFerrin.
Exactly.
And Al Jarreau did some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, did you get a lot of their music? Did you hear a lot of their stuff?
It's funny. I didn't really. I discovered them later on, which is weird because, of course, because people, say, hey, it's like Bobby McFerrin, and like Al Jarreau does, and I, you're kind of right. But
you didn't really, they didn't inspire you to do that. In other words, you started doing that on your own, and it just so happened that there were a couple of guys in the world that were also doing it.
Exactly, like singing along. Yeah, like George Benson too. He sings along with his guitar like a scat, scatting way. Yeah. And I always call it, like I put on the albums, I say vocal sounds.
Right.
Because that's, to me, what it is. It's like an extension. Instead of a sax player or a trumpet player playing a line with the guitar, I'm just using my voice. So like in a high noon.
Exactly.
Along with the guitar, and it just kind of created this kind of sound,
Well, here's a great time to play High Noon.
Yeah, right.
Well, can I share with you my favorite cut on 3D?
Oh, please.
Radiant Dreams.
Is that you did that song with me on Radiant? It's on Radiant.
It's on Radiant, but
yeah.
I thought it was on 3D.
No.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm
Radiant.
sorry.
No.
Sorry. I gotta do my research.
No. You got so many tunes.
I know. But man, that thing just really. I mean, every time I listen to it, it creates. I start welling up.
Really.
Really.
Wow.
It's so raw, peace and love, and why I'm here and why I'm doing this. And,
wow.
Which is, again, what you are teaching me as a human being.
Oh, man.
Reiterating why we do music and why we experience this beautiful gift.
Yeah.
And share it with the world.
Nice.
And that song, I swear to God, folks, we're going to have to listen to it.
Fortunes filled with passion to feed this hungry fire that no rain could ever smolder. If it takes forever, I sure got the time to pay. Have somewhere we can go to, someone we could trust, and never take for granted. And when this world feels empty and drains you to the bone again, yeah, I fall to sleep of hopes I'll see my radiant dreams, because life's complete when you meet your radiant dreams. Yeah. Standing by the wayside, feeling pretty lost, with every door closed for maintenance. And with this key you're turning, a chance to see it all again. Yeah, I fall to sleep of hopes I'll see my radiant dreams, because life's complete when you meet radiant dreams, because I fall to sleep of hopes I'll see my radiant dreams, because life's complete when you meet radiant dreams. Radiant dreams. Yeah. Radiant dreams.
remember when we recorded Radiant Dreams, we were, I went to Tom's house in Vegas. Is it,
Sure,
can I
yeah.
say? Is that okay?
Vegas, yeah.
Tom moved from
Don't give the address, though.
Yeah, I won't give the address. But Tom has created this beautiful studio where it's just incredible.
And you were at the very first month that I actually lived there.
I remember when we were recording 3D, you were not unpacked.
There was boxes everywhere.
And you were, the first thing you set up was the studio so we could work. And I was like calling Tom all the time going, Tom,
you ready?
Can we start working?
But it was really, the first thing that happened when I moved to Las Vegas is you called me and asked me to help you produce that. And that, and me and Yvonne went, yes!
Oh, man.
This is the right move.
Yes.
Already a cat from California is coming over here to produce a record. And, and I'm so proud of what we ended up with.
Absolutely.
I learned so much.
Me too. All the, just the whole approach was so cool. And you were so kind to let me stay.
But I'm starting to realize that after all the years I've been in this business, and being in studios and being around producers and working with other writers and stuff like that, it's really getting down to the vibes that we get in the room that we're creating in.
Right.
And the love that we feel in our environment when we're creating our music.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can, and I think the future is perfect now for this, because everybody is getting their home studio together. Mm-hmm. Everybody is getting a pretty darn good setup where they can come up with the idea, go downstairs and record the basic, loop or whatever, and play the raw material over that loop.
Exactly.
And by the end of the day, practically, you'll have something that you could actually release on a CD.
Yeah.
And didn't we do that with that John Lennon tribute?
We did. The Imagine tune. Yes.
Yeah, Imagine, like you were talking about, we need to do something other than my own material.
Right, we should do one, a cover tune. And it was like, and it was weird. We were just there, and it was spontaneous. And we did that in one day.
Yes, I remember. And we were listening to the mix at the end of the night going, it's done. I can't believe it.
I was like, oh my gosh. It was like incredible how we built it and you built the track. It was so cool how it started out with solo guitar and then it just...
Whoa. Why don't we just listen to it?
Oh, that's perfect. I love it. We'll reminisce. Let's listen to it again.
And wait a minute, before we do that, what record is this off of?
This is off 3D.
This is off 3D, okay. The cover of Imagine by Steve Oliver. Wow.
Dang.
What a great memory that is.
That's incredible.
You know, going in and just like having an idea, and you said, well, you know, I used to kind of do this live at a concert, you know, just me and a guitar, and I went through my loops, you know, and you found a really cool loop that you liked, and
I totally remember that.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's just I can't wait to get started on the next project.
Yeah.
Which is kind of already in my hard drive right now. And I forget the name of the cut that you sent me, but
Life Goes On.
Explain the concept of this next record.
Yeah, you know, I've done 4 kind of I call them instrumental albums, but even though I put vocal songs, you know, on each of them, you know, there's like 3, usually 2 to 3 vocal songs, and then the rest are kind of instrumental with the wordless singing kind of concept.
Right.
So now it's time to do a full-fledged vocal album.
Right.
And so, you know, I've been writing songs kind of in a Sting, Peter Gabriel, world music kind of vibe, and so I just think it's really cool to have. It's kind of pop, you know, music, but with jazz influences,
of course,
and world music. You know, kind of the percussion is driving everything instead of like a drum set.
Right.
Even though, you know, the kick drum would be in there. So I've been real excited about doing something like this. For the longest time, I've always been influenced by percussion. And what you can do with percussion to kind of, and we kind of dipped in that too with with the past stuff we've done.
Yeah, with the loops.
Yeah, with the loops, but adding this kind of world element to these kind of pop songs that
other instruments from India and Pakistan and other places.
Yeah, but like more of the percussion driven things, not necessarily like sitar or you know, or the
tablas and
exactly
talking drums and stuff like
tablas and doumbeks and djembes and African drums, and I'm just something about that is real earthy to me.
Yes,
and something about and I just like to have that concept with these kind of pop songs, but have this undertone of that you know, African tribal kind of sound.
And it's a trance kind of music, you know, when you get that kind of a percussion groove going.
Oh yeah,
and from beginning to end, it just kind of goes through like a vector.
Yeah,
a musical vector, and it just puts you in a wonderful state of mind.
Oh yeah.
Which brings me to the next question. Obviously, is you become a musician, a master at your instrument, and you've developed this vocal instrumentation and percussion. Now you're a lyricist.
Yeah.
So, tell me. I mean, where do you find the poetic inspiration for this?
Oh man, I've always written songs, you know, lyrics. I've always have, and then when I got into the kind of the smooth jazz world, you know, 10 years ago when I was working with Steve Reed, he was looking for songs too, and I've always been a singer.
Yeah.
So to me, it was just natural for me to do, and I've always loved writing, you know, lyric songs. But I love instrumental music, so I've been in this kind of weird kind of you know, flux. You know, I love doing both. You know, why can't we do both? So it's always been
nothing stopping you.
Right,
There's
exactly.
nothing stopping you, bro.
And so a lot of times lyrics. I've been really starting to get into the lyrical content. You know, even more now that I'm kind of writing a whole new lyric album. Yeah. And I'm kind of keeping this theme. You know, I kind of have a working title for it. It's called Dreaming Awake.
Dreaming Awake. I love that. I think you did share that with me before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that, again, folks, Steve Oliver has the entire concept in his head.
Kind of.
I mean, it's like he can play the CD in his head, and it hasn't even started getting produced yet. It's amazing how you can do that.
Oh, man.
It really is.
I think it does come back from listening to albums all the way through as a concept, you know, and just enjoying that aspect.
So what is the stories that you're telling in your lyrics? I mean, the ones that you're working on now.
Oh man, a lot of them are very, you know, of course, real uplifting. I just want to uplift, and like there's one tune called "This Fire," and it's about passion fire.
Oh,
so it's about your own. You
everybody knows about that.
Everybody knows, about this fire. You know, you can't stop the wind, you can't stop the rain, and you ain't gonna stop this fire, which is like an internal. So that's the chorus of the song, you know.
Wonderful.
So it has that kind of, you know, songs like that. But then there's songs like, and there's this other one that I just finished actually demoing. Yeah. It's called How Do You Know? You know, it's kind of like, it's like life experiences. You know, when people, you know, walk around and they claim like, you know, they just seem to know it all, but they don't have the life experience to back it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I wrote.
I'm so glad somebody finally wrote a song about that.
Yes. Everyone is like, in fact, the chorus goes, "You have such a vivacious appetite for a world you have not seen. So how do you know?"
How do you? Oh, perfect.
That's the chorus.
Perfect.
And I get goosebumps every time I think about that.
I just did too, man. I'm so glad that you.
Vivacious appetite. I know the how. No, you have not seen. So how do you know?
Ooh.
How do you know? And that's kind of the.
You're getting it first here, folks. This is like pre-record performance here.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, I cannot wait to hear the result of this concept.
Oh, thanks. I'm just excited about.
I'm going to go right home after this gig. Tomorrow, and I'm going to open up that file and get working on your tune, man. Yeah,
I know. I sent Tom a song. It's been a while.
I know it's been a while because I've been involved in other things.
Yeah, Tom's been very busy on the road touring, and we're all busy, and it's so hard to.
It is.
Connect.
It's all about scheduling now.
It really is.
But Steve said, hey, there's no rush, man. I don't really have to do this right away.
Not a hurry,
and I'm like, so sure enough,
I know.
it was living in my. It's living in my hard drive as bits and pieces of things. But
that song, I think it's called "Life Goes On."
Life Goes On. Yeah, I remember
Life
that.
Goes On, and it's like same kind of
Well, this conversation we're having is really inspiring me to go back to it and do whatever I can do to get it started, at least on a level that we're discussing.
Right.
But I think that you should talk about your percussionist that you've been working with, because I think he's going to have a lot to do with achieving that world sound.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny. I been touring with this percussionist named Umberto Vella. He's from Indio, California. Mm-hmm. And we've been playing together for about 6 months now. Wow. And been on the road, and we've been playing. We've rehearsed a lot. We've been doing a lot of rehearsing together and getting to know each other musically. And he understands where I'm trying to go with these songs, and try to do the show, because we've been doing, like tonight we're playing in a duo. It's just me and a percussionist, and so we really kind of dived into that world of how to present it, as a duo setting, and do it kind of in a creative way, kind of different things. So Umberto plays like the cajon, which is a sit-down kind of box. We call it the groove box.
Yes.
And it's like a box, and he sits on it and hits it, and it sounds like a drum set.
Right.
And it's so amazing to watch him do his thing every night. I just, I give him a little spot, where he does a little solo.
I'm glad you said it right, too, because cajon is the drum, and cajon is something totally different.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we change the name. Sometimes we call it the cajon, or we call it the cajonis. So it could change,
But yeah, I just met him, and he seems like he's very musical and a sweet guy, and
very
easy to work with, and
completely.
Congratulations, man, because everything's just coming together so nicely. And I was just out front listening to your sound check, and it sounds so full.
Wow.
I mean, you're working with some tracks, I know, but man, and still musical is still something that you're not feeling like, where's the band?
Right.
Because the band is basically what you guys are doing up there.
Yeah, and a lot of the times I'm playing the guitar synth.
Right.
So I'm triggering keyboard textures.
What is the instrument that you trigger again? I forget.
It's actually, I'm helping design this, and I don't think I've talked to you about this and told you about it.
Well, now's the time.
Now's the time. This is perfect, because I'm working with Carvin, the great guitar company, and we've been working together developing this new guitar. It's called the NS1.
Okay.
And it's called the Nylon Synth 1. It's because it's the first of the first ever being done by Carvin.
Right.
So it's an amazing guitar. So it gets guitar sounds along with it has a 13-pin cable that you can pull, go into keyboards, samples, and trigger sounds from the guitar.
So it has MIDI out kind of.
It's like a MIDI kind of guitar. But yet it plays, it's a regular guitar, and it plays. You could also plug it in direct too, just like a regular guitar, like a 1/4-inch jack.
Right.
And then it plugs into any amp or whatever mixing board you want to go in direct, and it also has.
Being a technical buff myself, let me try and understand this. The guitar itself has synth sounds in it?
No, the guitar doesn't. It plays like a regular guitar, like you plug electric guitar into an amp.
Right.
And, the guitar would work.
So it's a nylon string, semi-acoustic? Mm-hmm. It's actually a hollow body?
It's a little hollowed out. It's real thin.
Right.
And
it's got like EQs on it and stuff like
yep,
that?
it has EQs, and it has volume controls. It has mids, lows, highs, and then it has a volume control for the synth.
Right.
When you're plugged into the 13-pin cable to run, like in the show tonight, I'll be playing bass along with the guitar, and then I'll be playing orchestra sounds with the guitar at the same time.
Beautiful pad sounds you have. I love them. And what are you driving with that guitar? I mean, is it another Carvin device, or is it a...
No, it's made by Roland.
Oh, it's a Roland
Roland
thing.
pieces, like the GR33 and the VG88. I use kind of pretty much Roland gear because it's a lot of the it's called the GK pickup, which goes into all these great sounds.
And this 13-pin connector you're talking about, that comes from the Carvin, and that goes, it plugs right into the Roland.
Yeah, it plugs right into the Roland.
It's not a MIDI cable though.
No, it's a 13-pin. It's MIDI is only 5.
Right.
So it goes right in, and then I'm able to, with volume pedals, to control what I need to control. Kind of like what you do. On the keyboards.
But you make it look really, really spectacular when you do it. And also, you've been using a delay device or a looping device?
Oh, yeah. I just got this at the beginning of this year, and I've been kind of like, I'll set up a rhythm bed with my voice. I'll set up like a then I'll press record on the mic that it's plugged into, and then it loops.
Oh, man.
So it loops, and then I could add a shaker to it, and then it just builds. You can build as much as you want, and then we play on top of this kind of loop of the song, whatever the song is,
I can't wait to see you tonight, man.
Yeah, so I don't know if tonight we're going to be able to have time to do it, but
well, where are you ever coming to Las Vegas anytime soon?
I hope so.
Yeah,
maybe so we could start working on some music together.
Well, that too. But I want to see you perform with this new loop device. I mean, I'm just really intrigued by the whole technological end of music.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty amazing. And with this guitar, the Carvin guitar, it's actually going to come out in 2 months. It's going to be available. Called the NS1. And then anybody can buy it. And
the Steve Oliver series, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of like, my name's not on it, which is great, because I didn't want to become a Steve Oliver model. Yeah, and they wanted me to. Carvin wanted to have that happen, but I want everyone to play it. I just want to, I'm playing the prototype tonight, which is I'm still sussing out some of the things, and that's the way you do it. You try things out on the road, and then you go back and to the technical guys and Carvin and say, hey, let's change this. And the saddles are kind of moving, or just different technical stuff.
Wow. So
then I'll go back and tell them we need to change that, and so we're almost to the point. It's almost completely done.
Wonderful.
So tonight I'll be playing the the almost finished product of this new guitar.
Well, now that we're on the tech thing, I mean, I'm obviously going to ask you, since you're a vocalist, are there any microphones that you prefer to in the studio that you prefer when you hear yourself back? Is it always the Neumann, U87 or something like that? Or
the mics we used on at your place.
Well,
too,
I used a CAD E200.
Oh, right.
The gold one? Right? Yeah, it's a black and gold mic. Yeah, tube mic. Yeah,
which is incredible. Nice. It did.
I'm real happy I got that thing.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing the vocals at your studio, and I was like, gosh.
And it was only $400 instead of $4,000.
Boy, what a concept.
So go out there, folks, and buy that E200.
Yeah, ADK, right?
No, this is the... you're talking about the ADK. The one that I used on 3D was the CAD E200.
Oh, okay. That's right.
And ADK has been really nice to allow me to try out some mics of theirs, because Spyro Gyra endorses ADK.
Right. And you used some piano. Right?
And I used the Hamburg, they call it the Hamburg stereo pair.
Right.
ADK, and I used it on the piano for the next Spyro record, and man, my piano at home now sounds great. I don't have to use a sample piano. I can use the real deal
thing,
because man, you get so much more out of it.
Oh yeah,
you get so much more heart.
Yeah,
revealed from the performance.
Oh, definitely.
But man, this has been a real pleasure to talk to you in this way, and I'm looking forward to many more interviews in the future.
Oh, are you kidding? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Because, considering the fact that I had absolutely no preparation whatsoever, I had no notes, I think this went quite well.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best way to, just having, it's a nice conversation. It's great to hang and see you.
It's like the music. I mean, we just play off each other.
Exactly.
And this is the way I'm going to be doing things, folks, from now on. And Steve, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
I can't wait to hear you play tonight, man.
Oh, I can't wait to hear you play tonight.
All right.
It's a good thing.
Rock and roll.
Up next week on Music Conversations on Jazz, Tom Schuman talks with jazz saxophonist Najee, a dominant urban contemporary and jazz saxophonist for over 20 years. And with 10 solo CDs, Tom and Najee have plenty to talk about, including Najee's latest release, Rising Sun, on Heads Up International. Also included is Najee's work with artists like Prince, Chaka Khan, Stanley Clarke, Larry Carlton, and Bob James in the jazz world. Join us next week when we share another music conversation on